The US President Joe Biden will visit Israel on Wednesday. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the president would reaffirm what he called America's ironclad commitment to Israel's security. He'll also discuss its war aims and strategy as Israel presses on with airstrikes, as well as the need to protect the lives of civilians and enable humanitarian aid to reach Gaza. Blinken said the visit was coming at a critical moment for the region and for the world. Now, we'll have more on what to expect from the trip in a moment, but first, here's a look at the situation in Gaza, where more than 1 million have been displaced and at least 2,800 people have been killed.
Entire neighbourhoods razed to rubble. Israeli airstrikes continue to flatten buildings across Gaza. On the ground here in Rafah, the scramble to rescue people trapped under the debris after a recent strike demolished an apartment building, rushing the injured to hospital, and lining up the bodies of those killed outside the morgue. Residents here say they have nowhere to go.
No electricity, no water, no internet, no nappies, no milk. But even if we die from hunger, we will stay here and we will not leave. In 5 days, we witnessed bombs fall on houses, corpses in the street. We fled to the UN school. We thought it was safe, but they targeted it and people died.
Thousands of people from across Gaza have left their homes and headed south to Rafah in recent days, after being told to evacuate by Israel. Mediators have so far failed to negotiate a ceasefire that would allow foreigners to leave Gaza at the only border into Egypt. So for many, it is a difficult wait.
We come to the border crossing every day. We contact the embassy every day, and they tell us to go to the crossing. We wait for up to 8 hours and then we go back. The journey is dangerous. We want them to solve this problem so that we can travel.
According to US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, America and Israel have now agreed to develop a plan that would allow aid to reach Gaza. But working out the details will likely take time. Time that is running out for the thousands of Gazans caught in a growing humanitarian crisis.
And we can speak now to Stephen Ryan, a spokesperson for the International Committee of the Red Cross in Jerusalem. Thanks so much for joining us, Stephen. We know Gaza has been without food, without water, fuel, medical supplies for a week now. Can you update us about the conditions there right now?
Well, I can tell you that the situation is dire. Having spoken to our teams on the ground, they're seeing the effects, the cumulative effects of this lack of access to food, water, electricity, really starting to impact these large numbers of people who have been displaced. We've seen families, women, elderly people trying to walk to safety, but none of them are sure where is safe. Right now, many people are still sleeping in the open and nobody knows what's coming next. Children are afraid and we're seeing people in complete disarray. And right now, the situation is critical.
Is your organisation in touch with authorities in Israel, in Gaza, and more importantly, are they listening to what you have to say?
Well, the International Committee of the Red Cross is the organisation that is responsible for working in humanitarian assistance during conflicts. So certainly, part of our job is to engage in dialogue with all authorities, with all parties to the conflict. We have been appealing from the outset for respect for international humanitarian law, for the parties to actively take every measure and every precaution that they should take in order to protect civilians. And it's the civilians that are suffering the brunt of this conflict. We also need to have access, both to be able to bring in the much-needed relief items that are going to assist these people, as well as to bring in additional teams to support the response that's needed right now. But to do this, we need authorization from all parties to the conflict.
OK, so the authorisation is critical. What are the other major challenges that aid organisations like yours are facing in Gaza?
Well, certainly it's the scale of the problem and the rapid changes that are occurring. From our point of view, we are ready to assist people in any way that we can, anything within the mandate of the Red Cross and of the ICRC in particular. Our teams, we have over 100 staff members in Gaza, and they are doing the best that they can to help the people that they can with the dwindling resources that we have. This means that we need to have much more relief items into Gaza as soon as possible. To do this, as I mentioned, all parties need to give authorization, and we also need to be assured that our teams will be able to work safely. You heard already in the reports and over the past couple of days that the lives of healthcare workers and humanitarians are at risk by responding here. And this means that in order to provide assistance, there needs to be pauses to the fighting, and our teams need to be able to do their jobs.
The Israeli army has been telling civilians in northern Gaza to move south. Can you put into perspective for us how this huge movement of people is impacting humanitarian efforts in the territory?
As I mentioned, this makes the situation extremely dynamic and constantly changing. It also means that there are a huge number of people moving to one place and in the hope that they will be able to get assistance when they get there. In order for them to get that assistance, it needs to get into Gaza. All of these people who have fled their homes, they flee only with what they can carry. As fuel is very short, people don't have cars. And certainly the Red Cross and other actors are keen to provide the assistance that's much needed. But this is going to be a huge challenge and one that we're going to have to adapt to on an ongoing basis because the situation continues to change. Our priority is to provide humanitarian assistance to civilians in Gaza, as well as the other aspects of the ICRC's work, including within Israel. But right now, access is what's needed, and safe access is what's needed.
Stephen Ryan from the International Committee of the Red Cross, thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us.